no relationship to Hank Paulson outside of the fact that they both got gazillions of dollars and had their hands dirtied, then patted with wads and wads of cash from the housing meltdown and probably now the recovery.
That's right. Well, John Paulson was paid out a whopping $4 billion betting on the housing meltdown in 2007. That's right, he bet on subprime loans blowing up. At the time, it was the largest payout for any hedge fund manager.
Well, in 2010, he apparently broke his own record by betting primarily on the mortgage recovery. It turns out Johnny Paulson personally was paid, get this, Frank, $5 billion. Now, that comes out to $3,695,000 per day in 2010, and that's holidays and weekends included.
Now, Paulson also set a record for earning $1.9 trillion for his hedge fund, making him either the shrewdest or the luckiest investor on Wall Street.
Shrewdest or luckiest? Well, I want you to think about this. You remember that Paulson was one of the primary investors in One West Bank, the bank we profiled a couple of years ago, who entered into a loss share agreement with the FDIC for the purchase of IndyMac Bank, where our contention was the agreement put One West Bank in a position where it was mathematically impossible for them to lose money, regardless of whether they foreclosed or chose not to foreclose on the property secured by loans with IndyMac Bank.
Listen, I get what you're saying, but I just want everybody to consider this. This guy, he knows real estate. He knew enough in 2007 to know that it was going to blow up and made $4 billion off of that knowledge. Now he's saying, now is the time to get into real estate. Now is the time. He made $5 billion on that. I'm just saying, this guy knows real estate. He's saying, now's the time to get into it.
He put his money where his mouth is, and now he's got a mouthful of money.
Lots of it. Nice. Hey, well, check this out.
Here, which are going to be more than 1/4 in sustenance, and I think that we're going to see probably up to 5+ years of similar themes that we're seeing today. What are those themes? Weaker U.S. dollar, continued worry about the U.S. dollar as a currency, continued worry about at least the southern part of the European Union, what's going to happen. And I think gold continues to trade more and more like a currency instead of like a commodity. And since it's the only currency in the world that no one can borrow against and no one can issue more of, it's the one currency that people can rely on to have value. So I see a lot of the perfect storm continuing.
The Omori gold mine is located along the Omori and Essequibo rivers. The Canadian owners of the mine began industrial gold production in 1993. The Omori gold mine is one of the largest in South America. The mine covers an area of 30 square kilometers. The Canadians have ownership of 95% of the mine's output. The Guyana government owns 5%. The mine is in production 24 hours a day, extracting about 16,000 tons of rock per day. The rock is crushed, and cyanide, which attracts heavy metals, is used to remove the gold from the crushed rock. 1 ton of crushed rock yields 2 grams of gold. In the past 2 years of operation, the mine has produced 500,000 ounces of gold. The waste material with cyanide is stored in a reservoir called a tailings pond. On 19 August 1995, the dam of the reservoir containing the waste material breached, sending millions of liters of sludge laced with cyanide into the Omori and Essequibo river system. It took over 3 days to stop the flow of chemical waste.
I feel that, it's Omori should really pack and leave. Leave. They shouldn't come back here at all. If their intention is to use cyanide, it means that they'll have to leave. And if the government doesn't intend to get them out, it means that we, the people, will have to come and get Omori out from this country.